Ryan Blaney has addressed the contact between him and Ryan Preece that saw Blaney go up into the wall and resulted in him going down 7 laps by the end of the race. And I believe he finished in 33rd place. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at John Trent Racing. Before we get into Blaney's comments, let's take a look at exactly what we were able to see between the contact here. Obviously, this is the end result of it. Blaney's already in the wall. Here we go, kind of seeing him go off the nose of Preece there, up into the wall, rear end makes contact, comes back around and hits with the right front. Significant damage for that car, and he would not be able to really recover from it. Here is a look from Preece's in-car camera that we get to see here. Let's take a look at this. You can see Blaney up in front of him, Preece following him, stalking him, as they like to say, going down the front stretch, going right down into turns 1 and 2, and just whacks him right there in the middle of the corner, sends Blaney up and into the wall. So this is what Ryan Blaney had to say while speaking to the media on Tuesday. And he says that Preece had every right to retaliate against him and do what he did. And this is exactly what Ryan Blaney had to say. He said, TV didn't show that I used him up pretty good in turns 3 and 4. Kind of ran him up the racetrack. I ran him up more than I was planning on. I was planning on kind of taking some space. And I kind of ran him up more than I thought and kind of got him out of the groove. He was rightfully upset with that. I would have been too. Then he got me a lap later and got into me pretty good. In my mind, I deserved to get used up for sure for what I did. I was guilty as charged, but I don't know if I deserve to get junked for what I did. It was just one of those racing things. I know why he was upset. I used up a bunch of track and he was mad and he decided to retaliate. Like I said, he had every right to retaliate. I'm just like, man, you didn't have to wreck me. You can move me out of the way. Just don't wreck me. It's just one of those things. Move on from it. He was then asked if he didn't see the contact as egregious as some other past retaliations in the sport. And he said he had every right to get back at me. What I did was I run him up on the racetrack pretty bad. Like I said, I didn't blame him for wanting to move me out of the way. How hard he hit me was a little excessive maybe because he caused me to wreck. But, I deserve to get moved in some way for what I did. And then he reiterated, TV didn't show that I used him up first. So it wasn't just he run me over. I used him up pretty big the lap before. So I don't want it to get skewed to where, oh, Preece just wrecked me. No, it was deserving for him laying the bumper to me for after what I did. So obviously, Blaney thought that Preece should have retaliated against him. He deserved what he got because he used him up the lap before, but he does think that the retaliation was a little excessive because it ended up sending him into the wall, junking his car, putting him, I think at one point he was 9 laps down. Obviously, at the end of the field there, obviously with the race finishing the way it did with the overtime and the cautions late in the race, he was probably able to get the lucky dog because there was no one else a lap down. So eventually ended up finishing just 7 laps down. But that is what Ryan Blaney had to say following the contact with Ryan Preece. You knew the media was going to eventually ask about that because they didn't do it at the racetrack. That was one of the people that I felt like we should have got a little bit more on because we didn't really know what was happening there. I felt like the coverage for Fox didn't really show a lot of that stuff, but thankfully we do have an explanation now from Ryan Blaney. And as I said, he feels that what Preece did to him, or the retaliation that Preece took, was justified, but it was just a little too excessive. But let me know what you guys make what Ryan Blaney had to say here. Do you agree with his kind of assertion, assessment of what happened? Or do you think that Preece is to blame and they shouldn't have wrecked Ryan Blaney? Or maybe you think Blaney should have had his car junked even more and maybe his day should have ended and he shouldn't have even been allowed to continue out there even, 7 laps down? Let me know what you guys make of this in the comments below.